everyone. Hope you're having a good day. I'm Sierra on the marketing team here at Digilant. Katie's also on the marketing team, and we're super excited to sit down with Brett Pund, the strategy lead here at Digilant, to chat a little bit about his role. So Brett, we'd love for you to just start with a quick introduction about yourself.
Yeah, thanks for having me. So as I said, I'm Brett Pund. I've been here at Digilant for 5 years now. It'll be 6 in October. Sort of background before Digilant, I worked over on the agency side for a few years. And then before that, sort of got my start in marketing advertising at the local MGM casino down here where I live. And I say that was the start because actually I had a pretty big shift before that professionally. Before I moved into that field, I did all of my experience in sports. I sort of went to school for that, and that was sort of my game plan coming out. Was enjoying it, but after sort of relocating a good bit in a short period of time and seeing that needed to continue and just sort of assessing life goals as it is, we'll call it, I thought a shift really needed to be made. And I think, finding my feet here at Digilant specifically has been great. And really have enjoyed my time here and want to keep it going.
That's great. Well, we're excited to hear more. Now we're going to take you behind the screens to learn more about your role in Digilant. And I'm going to jump into the first question. So for those who may not be familiar, what does the planning team do here at Digilant? What does that team typically step in?
The planning team, we are typically on the front end or the pre-sale part of the planning side. So we are the ones that are typically building the proposals and putting together the strategic recommendations for any sort of business or client or brand that we are pitching. So we're here to do as much as we can to support the sales team. And as well with those proposals, we typically are the ones that are putting together research as well, which are part of those proposals or just one-off requests. So ultimately, we are the ones, part of the team on the front end that is trying to do our best to put our strategic thinking in front of the clients and really just driving their success.
Amazing. Yeah, we know that the planning team is so important here at Digilant. And with that background, specifically as a strategy lead, I'm sure it looks different day to day, but if you could walk us through what your typical day work looks like here working at Digilant.
Yeah, no, to be honest with you, no 2 days are really the same, which I enjoy. That's great. But I will say a large chunk of the day, or probably our priority of the days, are usually working in a lot of PowerPoint or Excel, depending on how the client wants their proposals delivered to them. So within that, we're using those to build out the proposals. If you're breaking down the proposals, there's a lot that goes into those, but you typically will see channel, tactic, targeting recommendations. You typically will see some sort of audience research or analysis done. You might see us pull together past campaign successes or past work that we've done with this particular client. If it's someone new, we may showcase different case studies or work that we've done with similar type clients. So really, we're just knocking those out as much as we can, the proposal side, and that's really the focus of our day. There's other things that I think we're going to get into that we touch on as well, but that's definitely the meat of it.
Cool. Amazing. You touched on one thing that I want to kind of dive into a little bit further, maybe get an example on. You mentioned a new client, or let's say a client is running digital media for the first time, or they come to you with a blank slate. You mentioned different parts of the proposal or whatnot, but in this specific example, how do you begin shaping that proposal? What does that look like from your side?
Yeah. This is where, so if we're working with someone that's new or coming to us for the first time, this is really where we get to be pretty creative because obviously our goal is to figure out, what the client's needs are and put a plan together in front of that. But we're also at the same time, probably equally as much pitching and selling Digilant. So this is an opportunity to really showcase everything that Digilant has to offer in order to stand out, but then also to really just leave a memory in their clients' heads whenever they're looking to pick someone for this campaign or maybe future. So before you really can get into all the flashy stuff and really sell Digilant, though, you really need to dive into the client or the brand themselves. So we try to do a pretty good deep dive or gain as much knowledge as we can, as far as like, what are they trying to achieve, either overarching for the year or maybe this particular campaign. We're trying to figure out maybe what struggles they're having at achieving those things, or maybe what struggles they're having reaching a certain audience. For some that come to us in this manner, we're actually trying to help them learn who their audience is. So there's really just a lot that goes into it to figure out on the front end sort of what they're trying to achieve, because from there we can really then start to dive into the different partners that we work with, the different offerings that we have, to one, make it to where we can actually achieve those things for them and make it the best campaign possible, or what can we mix in, like I said, to make us really stand out? What's a Digilant only thing that we offer to really make us flashy and stand out? And from there, you're trying to marry all those things together and deliver it in a great proposal that hopefully helps us land the business and in a new relationship.
Yeah, it sounds like everything's a bit customizable, which is a good thing. One area you mentioned was on partners. So I just wanted to dive a little bit more into that. I know Digilant has, different partners for different things. When you're evaluating partners or platforms, what are kind of the key factors you're looking to consider?
Yeah, I touched on the partners there in sort of what we're putting in the proposal, and I didn't mention at the front end, sort of one of our big roles on the planning team is to have that knowledge of all the partners that we work with, and it can be a handful to say the least to keep up with, but it is sort of our job to know what works best here and there and how to apply it. When we're picking those partners out of a long list, there's a lot that goes into it. I would say how they've performed in the past is very important, whether that's for this particular brand or client or for someone similar to them, or just in general how they've done. I think knowing what each partner specializes in helps you narrow down a list, because you have clients that are looking for very specific wants and needs and goals. So just knowing what each partner offers and what they specialize in is important. Knowing that the offering that they have has enough scale and reach. Knowing that they're going to provide the type of analytics and reporting on the back end is very important. Anything that we can think of that we're trying to meet the client's goals goes into this. Pricing is a big one. A lot of people offer very similar things, but you would be surprised at how much pricing varies. So that's a huge one that we have to look into. So it's really great, like working at Digilant and having all of these partnerships to work with and platforms that we work in, and being really agnostic, because at any given time there's many different levers that we can pull, and it's great having that in our pocket to use, because I couldn't imagine doing this job and not having that many options and being hamstrung into certain ways of thinking or like very minimal options. So it's really freeing, and you're really able to be creative with that.
Amazing. Yeah. Like Katie said, like so much detail, and like you've mentioned, so much detail, like, and it's such a big part of your day. I feel like we could talk about proposals endlessly, and how much work goes into them. But I do want to kind of switch gears here, because you did mention custom research as well. So if you could dive a little bit more into that, like what kinds of projects does that look like? What kind of clients are you helping with those custom research? Because I know it is a bit different than the proposal work. So I would love to just hear a bit more about that.
Yeah. So the proposals are definitely the forefront, kind of our priority of what we're doing most of the time. I would say secondary, and one that's really grown a lot in the last few years since I've been here, is the research side of it. We've done more in more recent years of sort of incorporating and providing more and more research, whether it's asked for or not. where it used to be sort of siloed to more into like for each proposal, and now we're just sort of generally offering it. And I think it's a great for building partner relationships. So different kind of research. Competitive spend analysis is a big one. You have a lot of brands that are curious what their competitors are spending or what others in the field are spending and on what kind of media they're spending, if there's any fluctuations over a period of time. Audience research is the other big one. You've got the pre-sale audience analysis that we do a lot of. And then you've also got, we have tools where we can provide audience insights from the audiences where we've actually targeted in the campaign. So those are huge. We have others that are maybe not as specific, where we do more like vertical or market type research that they're curious about. And ultimately all of it, our thinking is, it's great, obviously, to provide all of the data and all the information to the brands that we work with, and they can use it how they see fit. But I also think the next question that usually comes, or the ones that you really, or the question that you always need to think about is, how is this applicable? Why are you telling me all this? How am I going to use all of this? Because it's great to just overload them with data and information, but at the same token, we have a lot of clients that come to us and like, they think they know what they're trying to get out of the research necessarily, but we're able to share nuggets or different storylines outside of that that they weren't maybe thinking of. So maybe, not so much we need to be spending the same as our competitors here. Why? How about we spend in places where our competitors aren't, more so? Or, hey, this is who we think our audience is and this is who buys our product. Well, actually, we can show you that you're missing out on this whole different audience that these other competitors aren't tapping into. So it's things like that, just trying to, it's something that's grown a lot since I've been here and I enjoy doing it. But the research is a huge part of this.
Amazing. Yeah. And it seems just as like detail oriented and expansive as the proposal work, which leads perfectly into my next question, because between all the work that goes into the proposal, all the work that might go into like custom research projects, and even more work that we don't have time in this video to chat about, all of that is in the pre-sale. So once we win an account here at Digilant and it moves over to the activations team, how does that handoff process work? What does that look like to ensure all that like important, vital information is then taken into action?
I mentioned at the beginning that, planning, where you're typically on the front end of the pre-sale part, but one key component that we do play a role in after that is once we do win a campaign or a proposal, we are the ones that are tasked with essentially creating what we call handoff details that are handed off to people on our team internally. And it is just everything that we can think of throughout the pre-sale phase that is deemed important to give to a media analyst on our team to then run the campaign. That is where all of this is provided to them. So we're talking about, it has to be very detailed. Any sort of conversations or notes from clients, conversations, whether that's emails or phone calls, we're providing here. Any sort of client briefs or RFP documents, we're providing here. We're making sure that all of our proposals are included in this stuff. All of the nitty gritty from the campaign, because when we're handing this off, typically, unless this is a historical client, the analyst that is receiving this and is going to be running the campaign has not been in the loop of this at all. They honestly don't even know this is coming until it hits their desk. So we're trying to get them from ground zero of knowing nothing to being very confident that they can run this campaign with all the information we're giving them. So it's obviously, it's one thing to do everything you can to win the proposal, but now it's time to run it. So this is what the folks have signed up for. So it's important to get all of that over to our team.
Amazing. It's been great learning more about your day-to-day and the work you're doing on proposals, custom research, and everything else. We're just going to take it a bit higher level and just talk more generally working here at Digilant. And little birdie has told us that you've been coined the comedian of your team. So to ask why you think levity helped on your team and in the workplace in general.
That's dangerous. No. Honestly, like we spend the people you work with, like you spend more, if you really think about it, you spend more time with them daily and weekly than you do with anyone else. So if you can't have fun and like enjoy your time together, it's gonna make for some really long days. And work can be stressful, obviously, but I mean, if you really think about it, work is not nearly as heavy as like what everyone has going on in their normal day to day, whether that's relationships, parents, kids, life in general, gas prices. I mean, just go down the list of things that are probably a bit more heavy than my proposal I'm giving you or my research I'm giving you. So I just feel like if there is some sort of joke or anything that can keep it pretty lighthearted to just sort of almost remind us all to level set like of what we're going through at the time, and maybe just to take a step back and think that this probably isn't as serious as it seems like it is. That's just kind of my approach to it. Honestly, selfishly, I just like to laugh too, so if anyone wants to joke about anything, I'm pretty here for it. So yeah, I think that's where that comes from. It's just I don't think there's so many other things that are way more heavy and important going on outside of work that I think just any sort of moments that can ease us down a little bit and have a good time. That's where I want to live. So that's where that comes from.
I think that's amazing, and can speak from your team that they're all very appreciative of it. So
Yes, I think we're gonna have to start hearing some of these jokes though. I feel like the whole company Slack needs to hear it.
we're gonna request for an encore.
Yeah.
That's not good. That's where things go bad.
Well, besides being the comedian, what would you say is your favorite part of working on the planning team or at Digilant?
Yeah, I think it's like a part of having a good time and being with the people that you work with in the team. Like there really is, especially on the sales planning team, like there really is a strong togetherness and really like a sense of teamwork. We're always willing to jump in and help each other wherever. It really feels like that. It doesn't feel like something that's forced. And so I really, the whole teamwork makes the dream work thought, it really is a reality. So it's just a great work environment. And I think one common maybe issue other remote jobs have is you kind of feel siloed, or like very off to yourself. And I don't feel like that at all. Like there's constant conversations going on our team, work or not work related, food and reality TV show related. That seems to be the hot ones right now. So it's great to work on a team that's willing to help each other, but then also we work together to make it more fun and not feel by yourself or that you're behind the screen the whole time. So
we wanted.
So anyway, yeah, the collaboration and just feeling constantly like you're on a team is what makes it great here.
Sounds like a very healthy balance of doing important and good work, but enjoying it along the way. So that sounds amazing.
Yes, definitely. And I feel like having that sense of like a true, like, because we're remote, I feel like having that sense of like a team is definitely important. So that's great. And then I have just one more question for you before we wrap it up. Is there anything you're especially excited about right now, whether it's your own work or in the industry? What makes you excited?
Yeah, I'll be honest, the first thing I'm thinking about is not work related when I think of excitement. So there goes all the credit I just built up with Digilant. No, I'm excited about the World Cup. I mean, that's here. It's in like a month or two now. Feels like it's fast approaching. It's cool that it's here. I'm excited to see really just how the US does in it, but then also hosting it. I'm hoping it's not a logistical disaster, but we'll see how that goes. No, work related.
Work related. There's tons of buzz behind it. So
there is. Yep. Yeah, I'm hoping it just takes over the summer. I mean, that's normally what happens, so I'm excited to have that happen here. Work related? No, I think Digilant is constantly coming up with new technology, and I think that's really cool. And some of it is for like our internal benefit, but then there's a good chunk of it that's obviously made to then benefit us presenting externally. And I think those innovations are really cool from like a sense of making our job easier or our work balance easier, but it's also just like more tools to equip us to like be a stronger worker ourselves. And I think that's really cool. Honestly, in this field, there's stuff that pops up all the time between new partners and new data providers or new targeting options all the time. So you're constantly learning. But I'm really excited to see like what the new things that Digilant is putting out there ourselves. And I think there's more of that in like the last year or so. And it feels like it's only ramping up more compared to like the first few years that I was here. So that's really exciting to see our company grow and really pushing to grow ourselves, which then hopefully helps us build from that. So yeah, that's where I would be there.
Amazing. I feel like you're leaving it on a bit of a cliffhanger, like more to come. But no, that's great. Thank you.
I was gonna say I'm not fully in the know of everything, so I can't. I don't know how much of a cliff I'm hanging here, but yeah.
Cool. Well, thank you so much, Brett. That was awesome. Great to learn more about you and all the great work you do here at Digilant. So stay tuned for more behind the screens interviews from our team, and thanks for watching.